saying a little while ago that some of us are coming into the show a little bit fresh and trying to understand what it's about and so forth. Could you guys maybe take us through and talk a little bit about your characters, who they are, and what they're about?
Yeah, so I'm playing John Silver, who becomes at some point the famous Long John Silver. But at the beginning of this, he's not a pirate. He's on a merchant vessel that is taken over by Flint's crew, and the audience gets to go along with him as he gets introduced to this pirate world for the first time.
I play Max. I play a young prostitute in Nassau. I work at one of the many brothels there, and it's just a battle of survival for her. It's a very difficult job. It's a difficult job now and was a difficult job then, and she's really forced to use her wits, her power of seduction and her manipulative abilities to survive.
Is it difficult to play a prostitute in a TV show? Because, when you look at that historical period, things did not generally end well for prostitutes, did they? So, there's not going to be a lot of beauty makeup in your offering for the next couple of seasons, is
it? Max has we use, coal, and she just draws this coal around her eyes, and that's sort of my sort of go-to thing. I feel like Max as soon as I have that on, and that's about as beauteous as they get. And she also has this amazing, great head of hair. You try to find the sexuality and the beauty on an island that's really so desolate in a lot of ways, and sandy and hot, and your interaction is with filthy, stinky pirates all day long. It would have really just been the most. Would have really, because we know all pirates back then looked just as strapping young men like it just would have been a horrifying job. It takes a very specific type of a person to be able to do that and to maintain their sanity during it, I would imagine.
So what drew you guys to the project? Because it sounds like you're having a ball.
I'm so miserable.
But what was it about the project that really attracted you guys to wanting to commit to something like this? Because you guys are all the way out in Cape Town, leaving home, all of that too. So it's a big decision to join this.
When I read the audition, I was like, what, a show about pirates? That's so cool. I think the biggest draw for me was the fact that there's nothing on TV even remotely like this. It's completely unique, and who doesn't want to be on a TV show about pirates? That's something that you dream about, particularly for little boys. We've had that conversation.
Yeah, it was a no-brainer for me, really. It's like the kind of role that, you wait. Yeah, it's the kind of role you always hope will come up, and, pray that you'll get it. And so when I had an opportunity to be on this show, it was absolutely jumping at the chance. But it is still a gamble. You do know, you sign this massive contract, and you kind of read the first episode, but don't know who you're going to be working with, whether you're going to be able to stand the other cast and crew, and especially when you're going to South Africa, and which I'd never been to. That said, Cape Town is just fantastic. Everyone that we have to deal with down there, whether in the crew or just, the people that we, share our lives with down there now, are just fantastic. Just so lucky with the cast we've got and everyone involved, and the scripts just keep getting better and better, the directors we've had to work with. So, it is a gamble at the start, but I think Pirates was enough to roll the dice, and luckily I think it worked out absolutely, far exceeding our expectations.
It's like you hear Michael Bay, you hear Pirates, and you hear On Location in South Africa, and it's just sort of who's going to be like, oh, I love it. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Don't you find in a way that you can almost use the fact that you guys are away from home, together, because, I don't know about for prostitutes, but, a bunch of pirates hanging out together, you can almost use that, that energy in the performance, can't you?
Yeah, it's like you go on a ship and you don't see your friends and loved ones for months, and you're stuck with a bunch of, loud, dirty, smelly guys. That's pretty much, the reality that we're in.
That's smelly.
Yeah.
Well, related to location shooting, obviously I have not seen the show, but I assume since it's about pirates, there's a lot of shooting on the sea. Given the reputation of that, do you have any stories about shooting on location on the sea?
Well, what has actually happened with this show, we're never actually out on the ocean, because with something like this we have to shoot every week back, and we have so much to do in a short amount of time. we actually have an amazing backline where we shoot. So in this we have a water tank and we have 2 pirate ships. It's at the point where you can, swing from one ship to another over the water, but it's all in controlled circumstances. And that said, it is. But then we have this living, breathing pirate town. We have a man-made beach. You can row onto the shore, get out, walk your way up the street, visit each different captain's camp on the way, go into the tavern, into the brothel, and without that you don't have anything that breaks the reality of where you are. So it makes it really easy to go to work each time and do that. That's what I have been in the water a few times in the water tank. It is freezing, it is terrible, but I'm glad that it is in a tank and we're not actually out in Cape Town waters, which are full of sharks. Yeah, it's like you just couldn't do it, out there. It's dangerous enough with stunties falling and over you and cannonballs going off. That
the water is literally littered with great white sharks. It's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you went diving with them.
I did. It was really in a cage. In a cage, I must say. Yeah. There are some very brave people that I guess the paramedic. There's the sea paramedics have to do night diving with great white sharks. It's part of what they have to do. Ty, one of our drivers, was talking about that and actually swimming next to great white. So I was like, no, not for me, thank you. I will happily stay in this cage safely and watch just a tourist. It's fine with me. Yeah, it's wild.
Luke, when you're playing a character like John Silver, and you actually know the sort of where he will eventually end up, do you play that as part of your character, or do you have to basically sort of go through the scripts and you don't even think of, I know where he's going to be X number of years from now?
It's partly fighting the temptation. I mean, all I want to do is know how he loses his leg, how, and what happened after, and look, when we begin it, Silver is not a great cook at all. He kind of, and later on we know that his knife skills are up, that he's a much-loved member of the crew. Kind of everyone hates me at the beginning. He's just, he's kind of a likable guy, but everyone's trying to find a way to chop his head off, and he just manages to get out of it. So the temptation for me is to, you'll want to know how to do that and to plot those points. But the beauty of this long-form television show is that it's just going to be a million twists and turns before we get there. In a way, the fun thing now is to play against that and give us a much distance to go between who he is now as a young man and who he becomes by the time we're in the book. So it's definitely on the horizon, but we have a lot of fun to happen before I get to that character.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being lovable rogue and 10 being complete scumbag, where does he sort of fall?
It depends who you ask, I think. And what definitely in that lovable rogue thing, but we're in the real time here. Everyone really is trying to kill each other all the time and trying to survive. So they're all ruthless. Anyone will really slit anyone's throat if it's to stop themselves from losing their own life. And so I think we all backflip, between the two. I think Silver especially, he doesn't want to kill anyone, but he doesn't want to be killed. And he's not worried about, he's quite open about the fact he's looking out for himself. Max and Silver are kind of partners in crime in the first half of season 1. And it's funny that they're kind of complicit in this little plan together, knowing they'll turn their back and leave each other for broken at any point. And in a way that's very honest. No one's got any falsity about oh no, we're really best friends. Everyone's like, oh no.
Yeah, we read each other.
Yeah, completely go, okay, we have to do this because otherwise we'll both be dead.
Yeah, we may as well partner up and make this work. Yeah, with no loyalty whatsoever.
No. Yeah.